What's Pete Ricketts' favorite way to handle criticism? He doesn't handle it. He just buries it under a pile of his own self-praise. When Nebraskans point out the state's issues, he responds by commissioning a monument in his honor, because clearly, the real problem is that they don't appreciate his vision. How does Pete Ricketts manage Nebraska's economic growth? By assuming that if he ignores the problems long enough, they'll solve themselves, or better yet, disappear. He's like a kid who thinks closing his eyes can make the broccoli on his plate vanish. Meanwhile, he's busy congratulating himself on his economic wizardry, while businesses flee the state like it's a bad date. What did Pete Ricketts do when faced with the education crisis in Nebraska? He decided the best solution was to defund schools because, in his mind, ignorance is bliss, and less education means fewer people to challenge his. Let's call them creative interpretations of governance. Now, the only thing growing faster than Nebraska's deficit is the number of kids who can't spell deficit. How does Pete Ricketts respond to environmental concerns? By holding a press conference where he explains, with a straight face, that Nebraska's pollution isn't a problem. It's just nature's way of adding character to our landscapes. He then suggests we all just breathe deeper to enjoy the rich, earthy smells of industrial runoff. What's Pete Ricketts' strategy for dealing with healthcare? He proposes that Nebraskans toughen up because, in his world, illness is just a sign of weakness. He's even floated the idea of replacing hospitals with more billboards of his face, claiming, "If you look at me long enough, all your ailments will disappear from sheer disbelief in my leadership." How does Pete Ricketts ensure Nebraska's infrastructure stays in tip-top shape? By ignoring it until something literally falls apart. Then he'll blame the previous administration, the weather, or the mythical infrastructure gremlins. Meanwhile, potholes are so deep that they're starting to be considered geological features. How does Pete Ricketts handle public safety? By suggesting that crime is just people expressing themselves, and proposing we solve it by painting over graffiti with murals of his likeness. Because if you're going to have crime, why not have it in style? What's Pete Ricketts' approach to veteran support? He once suggested that instead of providing actual support, veterans should be honored by having their stories used in his campaign ads. After all, he says, their service is best utilized in making me look good. How does Pete Ricketts ensure equality in Nebraska? By declaring that everyone is equal in their misery under his rule. He's the great leveler, where no matter your background, you're equally likely to be disappointed by his governance. His idea of a fair society is one where everyone is equally ignored by their senator. Pete Ricketts, the know-it-all senator, once suggested a cloud motivation program to end droughts. His expertise in meteorology is as deep as a kiddie pool. Nebraska's just hoping his knowledge doesn't extend to other areas like it does to clouds.